Okay.
How did this
Okay,
Ravens
go ahead.
team look to you last night with Lamar back? Did they look like a playoff team?
Absolutely. And look at that press conference by Lamar Jackson. When's the last time we saw that type of energy coming from the Baltimore Ravens? I said it last week.
Yep.
There's a lot of, I said it this week, actually. There's a lot of turmoil internally. So sometimes, taking away something that you love brings back that excitement. He played with juice last night. He played with a lot of excitement. He looked like the reigning MVP. You said it in your opening statement, Jenna. Like, this dude looked like the reigning MVP. He was lights out. They ran the ball phenomenal. Yes, they're a playoff team. Defensively, they answered the question, right? They've been giving up a lot on the defensive side. You get Calais Campbell back. You get Brandon Williams back. Now, Zeke could have went for over 100 yards and dominated, but they got away from the run game. But I say all that to say, on the defensive side, their issues are fixable. You have your two defensive linemen back, and on the offensive side, Lamar Jackson playing with juice. But Jenna, Nick, the real question is, are they a contender, right? We're talking about a team that came in with high hopes and expectations. Yesterday, we talked about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, and I said, you know what? It's about Greg Roman and the Baltimore Ravens. They still didn't get it done throwing the ball. Now, can they get back to the playoffs? Absolutely. That's where they left off last year. But if they want to take another step, what I've been saying all year is Greg Roman has to air it out. They have to throw the ball. Now, I will give him a pass because you have Lamar Jackson, who missed the game, and he also missed several practices due to COVID-19.
Sure.
So it was a great way to ease him back in. Next week is a huge test for them. Now, to answer the question, if they're contenders, they got to throw the ball more, Nick.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, do they look like a playoff team? Yes. In fact, they look like a very specific playoff team. The 2018 Baltimore Ravens playoff team. A team that once they inserted rookie Lamar Jackson had 5 games where they threw for less than 175 yards and ran for more than 200 yards. That's what that team last night looked like. And that team, the 2018 Ravens, wasn't considered a championship or bust, make the Super Bowl or it's a disappointment. It was like, hey, the season was dead with Flacco. We inserted this juice into the offense, and we're hard to defend. And so, Wilds, I do think they're going to make the playoffs. Even if they lose to if they beat Cleveland, they're basically a lock for the playoffs. But even if they lose to Cleveland, they still have a path where they can get to the 10 wins they would need to be a playoff team.
Yep.
But they have to become more threatening through the air. And I agree with Brandon. Lamar's first game back in a game where the Dallas Cowboys looked like they'd never even heard of, much less practiced run fits. Why would you throw the football much? Just run it down their throat, because Dallas was awful defending the run. In fact, twice this year, there's been an NFL team allow 290 yards rushing. Both times it was the 2020 Dallas Cowboys. But they've got to get better at it. If they're going to be a real threat, Wilds, they've got to get better through the air. It is Greg Roman, it's also Lamar, and it's also the receivers doing a better job as far as getting open and doing their jobs.
Yeah,
That's
Nick,
right.
I couldn't tell how good this Ravens team is just because the one thing we did know is that the Cowboys' run defense is so bad. It's their third most rushing yards they've ever allowed. The first, oddly, was week 4 against the Browns. So here are some odd plays. And it's not like maybe it's a scheme thing. Maybe it's just guys missing plays. If you look at Van Der Esch here, he gets totally turned around on the play. Lamar goes right in. Then we have another play with Rashard Robinson, who's brand new on the squad, cornerback. He's the guy Hollywood Brown was lighting up. Watch this play. Whoops, pulls the Nate Robinson, laying on his face. So, Brandon, it's hard for me when I see plays that are so bad. When I see plays that are so bad, to give the Ravens this much credit, when you see plays like this that are easy plays that the Cowboys didn't make, it's hard for me to give the Ravens a bunch of flowers.
Hold on. What happened to Nate Robinson? So you're just going to throw that in there real quick, huh?
Oh, the
That should
J.
be a
Cole
whole
fight.
fight.
Anytime somebody's laying on the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just going to throw that in there? You can't just throw Nate Robinson in there and think we're going to continue to talk about football. Come on, man. But look, you put me in a bad spot here because I would love to talk about Nate Robinson. But yeah, there is some validity behind what you're saying. They played against a Dallas Cowboys team who has been up and down all year, been struggling. But at the end of the day, we wanted to see if this team could get back on track. And last night they flashed. They showed you how awesome they can be. But they showed us how they got it done last year. This year, to get the job done and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, even the Cleveland Browns, you're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more.
Well, I'm going to give you one silver lining if you're a Ravens fan. I do think that they're going to make the playoffs, and I think it's likely going to be as the 7th seed. And if that happens, due to Pittsburgh's loss last week, their most likely first-round matchup is another game against the Steelers. And I think they feel good about their chances in that game. They barely lost the first game, even though Lamar turned it over 4 times. They were in the second game, even though it was the COVID Ravens with RG3 at quarterback. It would be a third look at them. And if you were watching the game last night, Troy Aikman said something that, with respect to Troy, when he said it, I was like, well, that has to be a fact error. But then I looked it up. I'm like, nope, Troy's right. John Harbaugh has 7 career road playoff wins. He's won 10 playoff games in his career. 7 have been on the road. So he knows how to get a team ready to go into another team's stadium to win a football game. So unlike with the Seahawks, where I think if they have to be on the road the whole playoffs, they could be in real trouble, Baltimore is used to that. And they've actually shown success with that. So even as the 7th seed, they could be dangerous, Jenna, if they get their offense more balanced.
And can I just say my takeaway last night, Lamar Jackson needed that game. Despite who the opponent was, he needed a confidence booster, a game to show who he was, maybe to bring back a little bit of that mojo he had last year. So I think all in all, for Lamar Jackson, it was definitely a win as well. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.